Well, folks, we have a lot to discuss after a wild night of racing at Daytona as Bubba Wallace and Austin Cindric secure dual wins in the dual races, and we officially have a Daytona 500 lineup ready to go after said dual races. So let's just get on right into it. Like we said, Bubba Wallace wins the first duel. Great performance by Bubba. Stuck around the front for most of the night. I'm forgetting where he began the night. I don't think it was definitely not at the front given how he ran yesterday in qualifying, but an impressive display there by the 2311 guys with, Reddick staying committed behind Bubba for a long time there in the second half of that dual race and inevitably pushed Bubba to victory. Wallace did a really good job at the end there when they got three wide and, the Reddick push kind of disappears. He didn't freak out and was able to execute well. And we got a clean finish that race, which was great. Unlike the second duel where we did not get a clean finish. But let's go a little deeper into the first duel. Pre-race, we had some issues with, as far as I have written down here, I think it was Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, and Ryan Preece. I'm forgetting what the issue was with Preece. I know Preece ran really well in the duel, but inevitably ended up. Let's see here. I believe he finished. Sorry. Where is Preece? I'm not seeing. Am I missing him? 13th. Ryan Preece finished 13th. My bad, folks. I'm forgetting what exactly the issue was. He ended up getting shuffled out to the back, and I'm forgetting how he got back up to 13th there at the end. But pre-race issue with him, pre-race issue with Chastain. I think Chastain said his throttle or something was giving him some issues, and then Elliott, I believe it may have been some brake issues. But all those got settled. They all got on the track and ran fairly well, all things considered. Early in this race, we had Zane Smith crashed I think 2 or 3 laps into the race, but and he ended up getting the car back out onto the track, but decided inevitably to take it to the garage and just get it ready for Sunday, as nothing really to race for as he's not an open car. And then a few laps or after that restart, a couple laps later, Chandler Smith had a very hard wreck, getting sent into the outside wall head on. Ended up collecting Helio Castroneves and that, who ended up I think he only broke a toe link. And so, which we're going to get into why that's a big deal going forward. I think also Justin Haley got collected in that crash. There may have been maybe Ty Gibbs. Don't quote me on that. Gibbs got taken up in a crash. I'm just forgetting if it was in that one or not. And then, so Chandler Smith will not be running in the Daytona 500. Sucks for him, but we're just glad he's okay. He had to get x-rays on his back and his wrist because he said he was pretty shook up after that hard collision. But he'll be racing tomorrow in the Truck Series. So props to him for being a tough guy and sticking it out. And just glad he's okay, really. That's all that really matters in that situation. But and then because of all those early wrecks, no green flag stops took place during the first duel. All the stops were made under caution, which did shake up the field a little bit. And then they got back to racing. Inevitably, Chase Briscoe actually bailed out of this race. The thought process was, or the questions that were kind of being asked before this race was Chase Briscoe going to try hard or even really try to race in this race? And he started off trying to, but then inevitably bailed out to the back and then ended up making some contact with some debris, which got caught in his grill. So he ended up having to just bail because no reason to go wreck your car that's going to be on the pole on Sunday in the Daytona 500. So probably the best call for him. I think that's perfectly fine. No issues. But that being said, a lot of debris cautions. It felt like it didn't feel like, you had your spree of cautions because of wrecks at the beginning, but there was a spree of, I think, at least 2 or 3 cautions that were brought out simply because of debris, which you never like to see. As far as some cars that ran well, William Byron, man, first off, before we even get to his performance, which was good, that paint scheme with the flames is awesome. Looks so good on track. It's been a very long time since we've had a repeat Daytona 500 winner, if we've ever had one. I should know that, but don't quote me on that. But no, that car looks awesome. That car looks incredible. Looked very fast too, running at the front of that field a lot. In that he was on that lower lane for a lot of the second half of that race with Ross Chastain and a couple other Chevys. I know Ty Dillon. Let's get into Ty Dillon. How about that crazy run? Started a little further back, but not too far back. Ends up getting to the front row, and for a while there, looked to be in contention to win this duel race. He finished, let's see, Ty Dillon finished third. So, yeah, great run for Ty Dillon. He's looked really fast. I mean, looked really good in qualifying yesterday, and great duel performance. So he could definitely be a serious contender on Sunday. We'll have to just wait and see. And then I already mentioned Tyler Reddick. Great performance for him pushing Bubba to the win after winning the duel last year. Reddick did. So 23-11 off to a really good start. Toyota as a whole off to a really good start, obviously with the dual win there and putting Briscoe on the pole last night for Sunday. So, and then like I also mentioned, Priest ran pretty well, but then didn't get the finish he wanted. But that 60 car looks very fast. That he could definitely be a serious contender for Sunday as well in his first race for RFK Racing. And then as for the open entry, Justin Allgaier was able to work his way into the 500. There were times at this race that looked like it was going to be in question, and that would have been a huge disappointment for a lot of fans, whether that be Dale Jr. fans, whether that be Chris Stapleton fans or Justin Allgaier fans. Just this was a big storyline, and I think it would have been a shame if he did not get into that race, just given the magnitude of the storyline that was building there. But sucks for JJ Yaley not getting in. It was actually fun to watch. Those three, or if you include Truex, who already was qualified in, but Truex, Allgaier, and Yaley were all racing each other very hard there in those closing laps of this duel. Very, very successful duel race there. Little more chaotic than the second duel. Let's just get into that second duel, shall we? Here you see the starting or the finishing order. We had some drama there at the end with Eric Jones and Austin Cindric deciding who won that race, because it initially looked like Eric Jones had won that race because he beat him to the start-finish line. But then we found out that the caution came out right before they got to start-finish line. So, and it came out with supposedly Austin Cindric in the lead. Now, how much do I trust the evidence that has been provided by NASCAR? I ain't gonna say nothing because it's the duel race. If this was the Daytona 500, I'd probably have some more to say on that matter. But let's just say I was not convinced on the angle that they showed. But they made the decision, so whatever. We'll stick by that. It really sucks for Eric Jones. Legacy could have used a really big start to the year, and is what it is. But as far as this duel race was concerned, pretty boring, or not boring. It was just compared to the first one where it was just all out madness. The second one was pretty tame, all things considered, up until the green flag pit cycle, which really just kicked things off in the final 15 laps of this race. So you get the green flag pit stop, which is initiated by Jimmy Johnson, actually, who pits by himself because he had some issue where his car ran out of fuel, supposedly, when it shouldn't have. We'll get a full or a clearer picture as to what exactly happened there. But he ends up pitting by himself and pretty much put him out of the race because I think at the time he was running, second in the duel. So tough break there for Johnson, but that car did look fast. So if they were able to get whatever that issue was repaired, who knows? Johnson could maybe even be a threat for Sunday. We'll see. Very interesting pit cycle how this worked out, given obviously how it finishes. But it started with that bottom row consisting of mainly Chevys and Denny Hamlin. They go to pit road, and then of course they get the 5 of Larson, 11 of Hamlin, and the 42 of John Hunter Nemechek got nabbed for speeding entering pit road. So they all had to do a pass-through penalty. And then the next group that came down was the Fords, pretty much spearheaded by the Penske cars. And I believe Custer was in that mix. I believe there's somebody else in that mix. I'm forgetting. But yeah, and I think some of the other Hendrick cars may have been in that. So yeah, they make their stop, and then so when they come out, this is when the drama really took place. So they're coming off pit road. You had another group of cars, I believe, who were either coming up or they had just passed, and then you had like Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski were out there. I don't remember exactly. I don't remember if they were running long or what, but they end up trying to do the I don't forget what do they call it when they split off and they try to disrupt those lines. They staggered themselves to try to disrupt the hard coming pack of cars that were much faster than them because they were not lined up whatsoever. And I mean, they slowed them down, but to a detriment of getting a huge stack up, which inevitably wrecked several cars, those being Bowman, Suarez, and Keselowski. And then but that was caused by the block of Buescher on, I think it was Cindric in the front row, and they almost wrecked, which would have been even more of a calamity because that was at the front of the pack. So yeah, that could have been bad, but it ended up stacking up the field and then wrecking those three cars that I mentioned. And it looked on Twitter that they had said that what they thought had happened was that Keselowski was trying to maybe go down to serve a penalty that they had given him. Not sure as to if that's true or not, but that's what I did see on Twitter. But yeah, no, that was a crazy moment. And then obviously coming to the checkered flag, Christopher Bell gave a pretty aggressive shove to the back of the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen and collected a bunch of cars in that. I know Larson, Cody Ware, Alex Bowman, Riley Herbst all got caught up in that. Bell very narrowly avoided Herbst as Herbst was sliding up towards the outside wall, which that would have been big because now he doesn't have to fix his car. But I think it was a total of 13 cars for Sunday are either damaged or going to a backup car. So that'll be interesting. And then as far as I mentioned Trackhouse, because Trackhouse, they only brought two backup cars, and Van Gisbergen, Suarez, and Castroneves all wrecked. And thankfully for Trackhouse, the Castroneves wreck sounded like it was just the toe link breaking. So they're just going to go fix that and give the backup cars to Van Gisbergen and Suarez. So we'll see what that means for the strength of Castroneves' car on Sunday. That'll be something to watch for. But another person to watch for will be Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie fairly easily raced his way into the Daytona 500. I think he finished, let's see here. Corey LaJoie finished 6th in the duel. I think it was like coming to the checker flag. I think he was like 4th, but I think obviously it says here he ended up 6th. Yeah, I mean, none of those open cars. I mean, yeah, like I said, Jimmy Johnson had that issue, which put him out of contention, but he was already qualified in from yesterday. And then, yeah, Anthony Alfredo and BJ McLeod all have to pack it up and head home early. So, yep, that being said, that'll do it for the duels. Let's take a look here at the starting grid for the Daytona 500. Obviously, we got Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric on the front row. Then it will be Bubba Wallace and Eric Jones will still get to start on the second row because Austin Cindric had already qualified for the front row yesterday. So his dual win will mean that Jones will get to move up and finish or start in the second row. And then let's see any notables here. Is anybody crazily down at the bottom? Your bottom three is going to be Helio Castroneves, Jimmy Johnson, and Martin Truex Jr. So some interesting storylines there at the back of the field. You got the Kyles starting in row 11 with Busch and Larson. Anything else super noteworthy? Alex Bowman starting on the 19th row. That'll certainly be one to watch. How about Ty Dillon? Man, Ty Dillon, what a weekend he's had so far. We'll have to see how he fares on Sunday. But yeah, that'll do it. So stay tuned for some more coverage heading into Daytona on Sunday. And yeah, please like and subscribe. And can't wait for more exciting content coming this weekend. Thank you so much. Have a good one.